And Emily will be posting links and things in the chat, so don't worry about posting links. Emily's got that covered.
3, 2, 1.
And action. We have people joining us again. Welcome, 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 and welcome back those of you that have been in the webinars with us all day. We are excited to be back with you, and we'll tell you a little bit more about what's going on in this session in just a few minutes, but we'll wait for everybody to jump in. And as we've done in the rest of the webinars this morning, we want to start off things in the chat, but we know where a lot of you are. But what I want to know is what has inspired you most today from the webinars that you've seen. So we saw 3 amazing messages. I'd love to see in the chat what inspired you most from the messages that you heard today. So while we're waiting, let's just see what you have to say. And as well, you've got 2 options. You can post to all panelists and attendees, or you can post privately just to us here as the panelists. But we would love to hear greetings from Point Claire, Concordia student. Well, welcome. Those of you just joining, we've just posted in the chat. We want to hear what has inspired you today. So from the 3 messages that we've been able to hear, what are your takeaways? What are your ahas? What did you learn today? So that we are not alone, right? Like, I think I would agree. And that everybody's in the same boat, 100%. Welcome those of you just joining us. I see common themes. We're not alone. Together, we can be resilient. Yeah, whole lot of knowing that we got people around us to support us. We're not alone, so this is great. Well, welcome, welcome those of you that are just joining us. We're just waiting until we get everybody in here. The question in the chat is just give us some feedback on some of the sessions today. What were your ahas? Let us know. We've got about 480 in here now. It's still coming in, so that's great. We'll give a couple more seconds. And Heather asked, are we automatically muted? Yes, you are all in a webinar, and so that means we don't see you or we don't hear you. So go ahead, sit back, relax, don't worry about your hairdo. We hopefully will have inspiring messages for you. Hopefully you can see the whole panel, and you will see George has his snap cam going, and he's got on his bath towel and glasses. Oh, well, now he's coming as something else. You're going to hear a little bit more from George. So let's just see. All right, I think still have a few people coming in. This is great. Really, really great. It's Friday afternoon, you guys, and you're joining us here. Thank you so much for that. Well, I think we can go ahead and get started. What do you think, guys? Thumbs up if we should start. Let's do this. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and there we are. We got all sorts of stuff going on over here. I'm hoping you can see this screen. If I go to present mode, let me get rid of some of this other stuff. All right, a thumbs up from Emily if you can see my screen. All right. Well, welcome everyone. You met me earlier this morning. We've been behind the scenes helping out with all of the webinars, but this final webinar is actually us on the main stage going to share some things with you. So we are EdTech team. I'll tell you a bit more about us in a second, but we're here to just give you some strategies for teaching and learning online. And in reality, these are just going to be strategies for teaching and learning in general, whether you're online or in the classroom. We hope to give you some tips to engage your students. And who is EdTech Team and who am I? Well, I'm Michelle Armstrong. I am one of the co-owners of EdTech Team Canada. I'm based out in Calgary, and I am here with my partner in crime, Miss Emily Fitzpatrick, who will introduce herself as well.
Hey everybody, I'm Emily, and I'm joining you from Fergus, Ontario, so just about an hour outside of Toronto.
And EdTech team. So between Emily, myself, and the lady that keeps us going, whose name is also Michelle Sturba, the three of us make up this EdTech Team Canada. But we could not do what we do without the amazing consultants that work alongside us, many of whom you're going to meet today. But ultimately, we are a group of educational technologists that are working with Canadian educators, helping you navigate this crazy world of technology. We are a Google Cloud partner and a partner to Microsoft for Education here in Canada. We work really closely with both of those groups and are just thrilled to have their support in a lot of what we do. And who is this we? So we are, as I mentioned, a group of educators, coaches, people just from all over Canada and the United States whose passion is education and technology and helping others. And so this is a picture of some of our team. We have 3 others on our team that are running a similar session en français. So these 3 ladies are running basically this same workshop, but in French over in a Microsoft Teams Live. If you would like their resources, I've posted their resources here on this slide. I think Emily is going to post those in the chat for you. Emily might even be posting the link to the Teams Live. So if you want to have us open in Zoom and them open in Teams and watch 2 workshops at once, you're crazy, but you can. Or just know that the links that we're posting, the link for the Teams Live will be recorded. You can go back and watch it later, but we will have strategies here in English and other strategies en français. So check those out. And the part of our team that is here with us today, we have George Barcenas from Santa Rosa, California, Emma Kochier from Victoria, BC, Susan Stewart from Fresno, California, Chris Webb from Montreal, Quebec, and Tammy Brewster, also from Montreal, Quebec. And I want to point out that Chris Webb and Tammy Brewster both are QPAT members. And so it is thrilling for us to have them work with us at EdTech Team. And now we also get to share with them here at QPAT. So what is going to happen in the next 40-ish minutes is each of these people is just going to share a tip or a trick or a strategy, advice, just on how to make teaching a little bit easier, hopefully engaging for your students. And we will have all of the resources are going to be available for you afterwards as well. If you would like to know more or contact with us, again, we are EdTech Team Canada, edtechteam.com/Canada. So I know I talk fast. If you need us to send you anything, connect with us there and we can get you sorted. But with that, we are going to set the stage with George Barcenas, who is going to share the power of video with us. George, take it away.
Okay. All right. So I know right now that I'm looking at all the people coming in and I'm like, whoa, I am so incredibly excited about sharing these things. And so what I want to share you guys is I actually want to make this presentation, not only me showing you, but I also made it in video format. So everything about the model I've created for you already. So right now, here's my hat of all the magic things. What we're going to focus on is the power of Snap Camera, which is the way that I'm doing this thing on my face. I'm going to show you how you can make pictures come alive. I'm going to show you how you can make them talk. And I'm also going to throw in one Google form thing real quick that you can do with all the stuff that I'm doing right now. Now, the first one, if you guys haven't noticed right now, Snap Camera is amazing. Snap Camera allows you to be able to make your face do these things, but it also allows you to be able to put yourself into your presentations. So right now, for instance, just let me show you what this looks like. Snap Camera is something you download to your computer. And once you download to your computer, you can use the camera for filters live like this. But I want to also show you this video right here. You guys have all the presentation. That'll show you how you can actually get it loaded to your computer. But what I wanted to demo is what it looks like if you just use it to make recordings for kids. So right now, let me show you live what this looks like.
So this is called Snap Camera. And one of the things I love about this is it's a great filter. So I can actually use all these filters in my Zooms or in my Meets as my virtual camera. and they're really cool. And if your computer can run it, it works really well. So you have a bunch of them that you can actually use in any conversation that you want to do. You can have these, but a lot of people don't realize that you can actually use this to record video. So right now down here where it says take photos and record videos, you can actually use this to make your own video tutorial or kind of give instructions to the kids by just doing this. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to come over here, I'm going to click on this, and then I'm going to click on take video. And when I click on this, the thing turned on, and now I can be like, kids, remember that this is important, and this is today's lesson, and I want you to pay attention to me, and my mustache is on fire. Back to you.
So
then when I go and click stop.
Now there's more on that, but I want to make sure you know all those tutorials are there, but you can also do it for
thing
photos.
You might not know is now that I am in here in my Google Slide, you actually have an option over here in Google Slides when you guys go to the photo inside the picture frame, the mount inside the picture frame. You can upload, you can search the web, but there's one called camera. And when I can turn on the camera, because I have the filter and because I have Snap Camera on, I can actually take pictures and put them in. So I can be like, and then I took that picture, let's do another one. And then when I hit the one I want, let's do this one, hit insert. Then now I have my picture that I can drop with all these filters. So let's just do
and if
a
you
little.
want to watch more of that, there's a whole thing on that. Now, just
The
to show
next
you,
one I have is
let me
if
pause
you want
this
to
one.
create your.
Next one I have right here, this is my favorite one. It's called And Then I Was. So when I do this website and I look this up, I can also make GIFs of myself. So this video tutorial here is there for you. I wanted to make sure you know that I'm not only demoing all these cool products, but I'm actually showing you that I'm making recordings for the kids this way. Now this one, what it allows you to do, and I'm actually going to fast forward a little bit so you can see, is I can make myself into a GIF. So once I hit the record button, and I make myself go crazy, and I go through that, and I do that. Now, once you do that, well, all you have now is you have the Google
Form. Here we are in the
part.
Google Form, and all we're doing is asking a basic multiple choice question. We put in, how does this presentation make you feel? And then I just put in some words already. And all I'm doing is I'm adding pictures to each ones that I created. Now, to make a GIF inside of a form, so let me click on the eye up here to show you what this looks like. So when I click on the eyeball, you'll notice when it goes in here and shows you what the form looks like, you'll notice that all these right now, there's questions in here. I created these GIFs in, and then I was like, and then I downloaded them. If you upload a GIF into Google Forms, it'll look like this. Let's do one more down here. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to close this and I'm going to just add one last one. So down here on option 4, I'm just going to type in a bunch of words. I'm going to be like, that's basically what I'm saying. And on the end, you see a little picture inside a frame. So right now, when I click on this, I'm actually going to now, since I've downloaded it, I'm going to upload. So click browse to upload the GIF that we created. And then I'm going to add the first one we did. Then I was like, and I was waiting for it to upload, and then once it's there, I'm in here, and now when I click on the eye, you'll see that this is a way that I can make little things for the kids to be able to tell me what do they think. And so right now, if I asked you, what do you think? What does this presentation make you feel? Here are your choices, and you have little GIFs that I created that you can kind of play with.
So I'm not even done. Right now, I'm almost out of time, so I'll make sure I go through these. Mug Life is how you can do this. You can take any photo in Mug Life and you can make it into an actual moving picture. So right now, if I want to talk to the kids in the States about George Washington, he's not some old guy. He's actually someone that lived. If I want to share about my family story, I can make my family members move. If I want to show you why the Mona Lisa is smiling, I can show you. And then I just found this out this year. You can also make statues move. So this is pretty amazing. Now, right now, it's very simple. Are you amazed by this? I know somebody who is. Right now, I want to introduce you to a teenage version of Chris. He is super excited of this because right now you can do this with any coworker, your kids, anybody. Now, right now, my last one, my talking pet. It's supposed to be so that you can make animals speak. So originally it was designed to make animals talk to you, which is not really well for education. So let's change it up. So instead of having Professor Snape, just read.
I have spied for you. I lied for you, put myself in mortal danger for you. Everything was supposed to keep Lily Potter's son safe. And now you tell me I've been raising him like a pig for slaughter?
So just to let you know, this part doesn't just have to be in English. This could be in French. This can be in Spanish, or the character can be doing this. My Talking Pet allows you to record your voice over the picture and make it speak like this. So like, again, quotes like this, I can have the character speaking like that. And so
Nearly
right now,
all men.
I'm almost out of time. Can you use this? I know somebody who can. Let me bring in my good friend, Tammy. Tammy, tell me what you think.
George, just like a unicorn, you are special. Thank you for showing me all the stuff you can do with YouTube.
Video.
Bonjour.
Oh, thank you, Tammy. I really appreciate that. So thank you all. I know I went a little bit over, but I want you guys to know, can you use all this? Please do. Use it all the time. And this presentation is an amazing thing that we shared to you guys. There's so much stuff in here, but mine is George, the Power of Video, that whole link there, and there's videos there for you. So I'll stop sharing and give the mic back.
Way to set the stage, George. That is fabulous. And we've got people in the chat like, what's going on? I'm totally lost. What did he say? Does this work on Chromebooks? We know we have just thrown a lot of information at you, and there's a whole lot more coming your way. Emily is going to post the link again to our slide deck. Our slide deck has all of the resources that George shared, Snap Camera, Mug Life, My Talking Pet. And if you can't find what you're looking for, if you're struggling and it won't work, because some of them don't work on particular devices, don't hesitate to contact us at EdTech Team. So help@edtechteam.ca. I'm going to get Emily to post that in the chat as well. Help@edtechteam.ca. Our entire team is manning that help account. And usually if there's a question we can't answer, then it's an opportunity for us to all learn together. So send your questions our way. All right. Next up, with another big, fast mass of resources and sharing, we have the lovely Miss Emma Kochier. You're up next.
Sounds good. George, that is amazing and tough to follow. And I really like those contributions of Chris and Tammy in your presentation. Maybe Emily, I can see you. Can you just give me a thumbs up that you can see these slides? Perfect. So I've gone ahead and just made you a collection of just grab and go activities to use with your students of any age. These are done in Google Slides, but the equivalent can be done in PowerPoint if that's more your thing. So the first is just creating graphic organizers, math manipulatives, letter recognition. You can do with math, creating words, morning calendars, concept webs, and these I've all created for you. You could do a sequence of events, a timeline. Moving along, these making virtual classroom libraries. These books are actually linked for you. You're going to get a copy of all these different things that you can use. This as well for middle school learners. All these are linked to actual PDF copies of the book, so your students can just grab and go. You can do novel studies with any of them. You can set up amazing little classrooms for resources. You can set up virtual field trips. These are actually linked to the Google Arts and Culture, so your students can just send themselves on a virtual field trip. There's lots of other ones in there as well. Choice boards, these actually link to math activities, so you are welcome to take a copy of that. And this is a novel study template, and I'll just click here. These are all linked in here, and I'll come back to it, but this is when you set it into present mode. Sorry, just waiting for it to load here. I have a lot of graphics. When you click in present mode, these icons will automatically link to the different aspects. Oh, maybe I'm going to exit out of there just because it's taking too long. Just know that it's there and it's awesome. Moving along, just some other templates. I've included a template to make your own classroom banner for Google Classroom. This is, if you're really into digital literacy, some do's and don'ts. It's applicable for both slides and PowerPoint. This is 26 ideas and formatting tips, a little template on formatting, and I just wanted to show you that all you would need to do is go to slides.new in a new window and take anything you want from this resource that I've created. So maybe if you go up here and you're like, oh, I teach younger, I want to use this concept web. All you need to do is right click, copy the slide you want, go into your new document. You will just right click to paste, and off you go. You're welcome to use anything for my presentation, change the colors, add your bitmojis, have some fun, but there's a ton of ready to use activities, and I'm gonna end there.
Boom. Awesome, Emma. So fabulous. And that resource there that Emma shared is gold. So thank you, Emma, so much for that and for sharing that with us. There's also another flurry. It's like, yeah, but we have these resources. How do we get them? Again, yes, all of those links are in the slide deck that Emily will likely share again to make sure you have it. We believe sharing, teachers, teachers give teachers, not teachers pay teachers, but we are thrilled to be able to share all of this with you as well. This recording, as well as the recording that we're currently doing in French, both of those will also be made available to you. We're going to ask QPAT to send it out to everyone. If something happens, you snuck in and you're not a QPAT member, good for you. We can send that to you. You can connect with us at help@edtechteam.ca. Just reach out and say, hey, I didn't get the recording, send it my way, and we can happily send that to you. All right, next up, our kindergarten primary specialist here at EdTech Team, the absolutely lovely Miss Susan Stewart, is gonna give us some ideas next. Take it away, Susan.
Alrighty, friends, we're gonna slow things down a little bit and we're gonna get basic with some numbers. We're gonna talk about some resources that are great for learners of all ages, starting all the way down in pre-K or K, all the way up to any level of math. We've got resources for everyone. So the resource I will share today is called the Math Learning Center. And I'm going to walk you through 3 basic tools and talk about some additional things that we can do in the Math Learning Center. So we'll start here with the website. And I know that Emily can get you that link there. And I see that there are a series of apps. Now, if you are in a Chrome-based situation, these are all web apps you can open directly from the website. And if your learners have mobile devices of some kind, like iPads or any other kind of tablet, there are app downloads for those devices as well. So let me go ahead and start with a simple one, and I'm going to model the number frames. Now, I'm going to grow up a little bit with these as we continue on, but let me start with a simple web app. When I open this tool, you can see I can make some interactives for my learners. I can choose my value here. I want to make up 10 frame, and then I can practice building some manipulatives. Now this is great because the students can watch me build. I might say something, I just started with 5 and now I'm going to add 2 more. And maybe now at this point we want to start talking about making a 10. So I might tell my learners, I wonder how many more do I need to make a 10? Well, there's some magic that could happen right now because I set it up, but what I'd really like is for my learners to have the opportunity to help me build these. In the Math Learning Center, it's a great way to model. However, I can share as well. When I hit this little icon in the bottom, sometimes we call that the sharing arrow. One thing I could do is I could click this link, and I'm going to go ahead and copy that link, and I'm going to drop it over in the chat simply because what will happen if you click on that link, you'll actually have my pre-made, ready-to-use setup, right? So I could have sent you just to the Math Learning Center and told you, okay, now build a model that shows 7. But the fact that I can set this learning experience up, right? I put the manipulatives on the table and now you're going to build from there. But wait, there are more opportunities. So if you want to go just a little further, maybe you teach grades 3 or 4, let's see what else we might do. At the Math Learning Center, another option is this geoboard. Now, I do love the geoboard for a few reasons. In the traditional classroom, I love it because every time I pull out my geoboards for learners to practice with, there's a whole thing about the rubber bands being old or, kids and rubber bands is already a question mark by itself. Now, when I do this virtually, I have enough manipulatives for everyone. We don't have to share a lot of those things. Even if I'm working with my students in person, I can give them these virtual manipulatives because I always have enough for everyone. Now, I'm going to go ahead and continue on here, and I'm going to build a resource. And this time, I'm just going to build a square. keeping it very simple. And I know the kinds of activities I can do with this. With early learners, we just might talk about the attributes of the square. How many of this, how many of that. However, as I continue on, I know we might start talking about perimeter or area or additional math concepts. Or maybe we're talking about fractions and halves, and I might send this again to my learners. But here's your challenge. I would like you to take this square and cut it in half. Or maybe I might tell you to cut it in quarters or thirds. I'm going to go ahead and drop this one. And if I'm working live synchronously with my students virtually, I could share it that way. But again, if I'm working with them in class, I could also share it that way. Now, here's the good part. I handed that manipulative out. I gave you a square and I asked you to give it back to me. I could say, give it back to me. For the learners to turn it back in, one simple way is that they can actually do the same thing in reverse. If they hit their sharing arrow, it'll bring up a link they could put right back in the chat for me to see their work. Now, there are a lot of ways that learners could share with the Math Learning Center, but that would be a really simple one. It doesn't take any extra programs or links. I could just have them hit their sharing arrow and come right back to me. It looks like a few of you are sharing those geoboards right back there. So again, we could have those conversations. What does your half look like? Some people might draw it this way. Maybe others drew their half this way. Hey, how many of you drew your half on the diagonal? So just really great way that learners can do that. I'm going to show one more of these. Now remember, when you go to the Math Learning Center, there are tons of these free tools. I notice that some of them do say support sharing. So that sharing opportunity that I'm doing in those are the ones that say support sharing. The last one I am going to model is the number line. And when I open that web app, again, I can choose a lot of different settings here, but I just want to build a quick multiplication model for my learners. And I'm just going to practice going 5 times 2 and 2 times 5, because maybe we're talking about the commutative property of mathematics. And this time I want to represent that 2 and 5 have that relationship, right? I want to show that 2 times 5 and 5 times 2 are the same. So when I go ahead and duplicate that there, I'm going to make 5 of those. And so I'm using the tools, and I'm just going to build a model that represents 5 times 2 and 2 times 5 are the same. Now I want to set this one up. Maybe my task for students will be to label this or take this somehow, but just the same way, I can go ahead and send this to my learners. Maybe I build the first half and I ask them to do the second half, whatever I want them to do, or I might give them continued tasks. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. I could ask them to annotate, I could write, I could share it to whatever sharing tool I have. I also noticed that in that sharing opportunity, it gave me the option to just save it as an image right now or copy the image. So many great ways to build in mathematics, model in mathematics, share in mathematics, and a great way for students to show us what they know. And I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing there.
So perfect. Again, we've sort of got a flurry of like, what? How did I not know this resource was available? Just so everybody knows, we did a run through of this earlier this week. I was one of those. What? How did I not know that Math Center exists? That was a new one to me. So Susan, thank you so much for sharing that with us. Excellent. We are, I think, going to continue on the math train a little bit, and we're going to look at another whiteboarding opportunity with Mr. Chris Webb. Come on in, Chris.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to talk about Jamboard. And if you haven't come across Jamboard, Jamboard is so easy to use. And it's so easy to use that what I'm going to try and do here in 3 minutes is go from a blank or potentially blank Jamboard to something that you could go and use on Monday morning. Now, you have a link to this in the resources. Jamboard does have a maximum number of people who can use it at one time. So if you all try and dive in here right now, it's not going to be very happy with you. But over the next 2 days, you'll have plenty of opportunities to come in here when lots of others are not. And you'll be able to find a load of things in here, including how to get to Jamboard, how to make a Jamboard, and on how to use some of the different tools. So it gives you a little overlay here of what all the different tools do. We've got a pen, an eraser, sticky notes, images, text tools, laser pointers, you name it, whatever you need for a whiteboard, it's probably here in Jamboard. You can also do some fun stuff. So we like to call these the Timbits at EdTech Team Canada. And under the Timbits, there are some other hidden features such as the ability to download this as a PDF. So if you're using this with younger learners, you can even use this to make books and other awesome things. You can even make copies of your Jamboard. So in its most basic format, we can use Jamboard as an interactive whiteboard. So I can write, hi, my subject is math. And I can, do 2 plus 2 is equal to 4, following on Susan's math theme. Or what I can also do is I can be like, you know what, I was really inspired by Susan's activity she gave us here. So what I did was I actually did my own geoboard while Susan was doing her presentation. Here's my geoboard. And then I can take a pen here and my marker, and I can actually start annotating up this diagram and start, asking, I could say, why did you do this? Or what were you doing with this? What does this represent? What shape is this? So it's not a shape. It's definitely not a polygon, right? These have to have bounded sides and things like that. And then we could get them to use the shape tool over here and be like, wow, were you after a rectangle? Because that looks like a rectangle. That's definitely not a rectangle. And then what we can do is we can think about making activities where we're going to drag objects and we're going to rearrange them. So we could use the sticky note, and we could throw an addition in here. We could throw a subtraction in here. We could throw a multiplication in here. And we could say, well, what did you do? Oh, were you adding a number to get from -4 to -3? Or were you subtracting a number to get from -4 to 3? Well, we were adding a number. And then we could give them some options on how many they were adding. So were you adding 3, or were you adding 5? Or I don't actually remember what the numbers were now. And so, this is not the right answer. I'm doing this quickly. And so we can throw a 5 in here, and you can use these sticky notes to drag and rearrange. Or we can use the shape tool. Again, you could not use the items given to you on the number line, and you could get them to throw an arrow in here. So you could be like, okay, you want to get from -15 to 10. Well, how do we do that? Well, we're going to add 5. So you can do lots of awesome things like this with Jamboard, and it's so easy to use. And there's even the laser pointer. So then we can draw their attention to a particular section of the Jamboard. If you do something and you don't like it, so it's like you circle this and you're like, oh, that looks messy, you can just use the eraser and you can just get rid of it. So Jamboard's so versatile. It's amazing if you're teaching a live lesson. Has great features. My favorite feature, like really my favorite feature, and I have to get the zoom toolbar to go away so I get the buttons back so I can move between the frames, and I don't know how to do that. There we go. Okay. Is the ability to share this through Google Classroom. So this is like the pièce de résistance of Jamboard. And because it's a Google product, it lives in your Google Drive. And you can use those 3 options when you create an assignment in Classroom of students can view, students can edit, and make a copy for each student. So these 3 options over here to do different things. So we can make them all view along like you are right now. We can have it so they all work on the same Jamboard, or so they get a Jamboard each with their activities in it. So there are so many different possibilities for using Jamboard. And I'm actually using one of these fancy touchscreens over here. But you can achieve this with a basic graphics tablet if you actually want to write on the screen. Like, these things are expensive, but these things are cheap. And if you have a touchscreen laptop, you already have everything that you need to start actually writing and annotating into Jamboard. So that's Jamboard in a little over 3 minutes.
So awesome, Chris. And I'm a huge fan of Jamboard. Just like you said, it's just like our Google Docs or slides, but it's an interactive whiteboard that we can share in classroom or work together with students. So many options in Jamboard. Fabulous. Our final presenter, another QPAT member, Tammy, is going to come up next. Just before she does, just a reminder, we're going to share all of these links for you. Have no fear. So once Tammy's done, we'll share those links. We'll also have a chance for a Q&A. So stay tuned for that. But to take us out, Tammy Brewster. And am I frozen, or perhaps did we lose Tammy? Oh, there she is. Hi, Tammy.
Hi. So I'm going to start you off with the tool I'm sharing is actually you. So it's the mind flip that you need to make when you're entering this online world. As we know, spring emergency teaching was hard. One thing I can tell you for sure is that coming into it now into the fall, it's really different, and it's become something that I've really enjoyed. So I'm about to share with you just some of my reflections that I have about equity when we're approaching teaching in a virtual world, and probably equity anywhere in teaching period. Inclusion, really thinking about life experiences when you're speaking to your students or expecting things back from them, and understanding our learners with where they're at. So I will share with you via one of my favorite tools, which is Clips, because I do live in an orchard. I'm a little bit of an Apple nerd. So here we go.
Pandemic teaching. Teaching during a pandemic is tough. You will have difficult moments. There will be celebrations too, I promise. As you plan your curriculum, think about equity. Consider your learning space. Is it an inclusive one? Consider everyone's life experiences will be different. Remind yourself you were once this age. Be real, be human. Understand your learners in this environment.
That's
That was it.
fabulous, Tammy. I love that at the end. Like you didn't have that in the pre-run, but just like relax my shoulders and clench my jaw. Like we forget, and it's so easy to just do that, right? Amazing messages, but also just an amazing use of another tool you can use in your classrooms, Apple Clips. I am new to the Apple world, and I went to one of Tammy's sessions where she taught me about Apple Clips, and it's just such a great platform for any message, especially one as important as that. Thank you, Tammy, for sharing. All right. Well, with that, let me jump into one more screen share, just so we make sure that you all have the link to the resources. I'll just leave it like that. You will see the link to this slide deck with all of these presenters' resources, edtech.team/QPAT, all capitals. And then as well, if you would like to connect with us, edtechteam.com/Canada. On that page, you're going to see any public workshops that we have. You can also sign up to be on our mailing list to find out more about when we're going to be near you. If you want to bring us to your school, you can do that on our website. And at any point, help@edtechteam.ca. We are there to help you with any sort of technology implementation. Send your questions our way. chances are good we already have preset videos or resources that we can just send you to help you out. So with that, we do still have a little bit of time for a Q&A. We have, mostly people were wondering about whether or not the resources are available. The answer is yes. Are we available to help you during the year if we have questions, Stephanie and anybody else? Absolutely. help@edtechteam.ca. You'll be able to find us. And I wonder if I should leak our new name to this group. Like, they could be the first to know. What do you guys think? I don't see Emily on screen, but I see some nodding. Just so everybody does know, so EdTech Team Canada, we are now a wholly owned Canadian company. Used to be a subsidiary of a company in the States. We are now wholly owned Canadian, and we will be coming back very soon, rebranding under the name Cobblestone Collective. And so if you hear of this Cobblestone Collective or EdTech Team Canada, we are the same people, but we're excited to still be working all across Canada, helping educators like you. All right, do we have any more questions in the Q&A? I don't. Vocational training for adults. I wonder if that's someone from Verdun, but we have worked with Verdun Education Center. But yes, absolutely. We can support adult educators. We can support students. We can support educators. So by all means, let us know how we can support you. And I can't follow the chat. If there's questions in the chat, perhaps Emily, you can jump in with those. But as far as the Q&A, oh, Erin wants to know what our new name is going to be, and it's going to be the Cobblestone Collective, ou en français, le chemin collectif. So watch for that coming soon. We have and I think the rest of the questions look like they might just be individual questions. Someone had a question about Jamboard. You know what, Julian? I encourage you, reach out to us, help@edtechteam.ca. We can even send you some resources all on Jamboard to help answer that question about sharing. Oh, wait, Michelle has a question. Ooh, this is going to be a big one, a good one for the panel. This I'm not going to even attempt this one. I'm going to turn it over to the experts. Michelle Racine, she asks, do you have any suggestions on how to plan and structure online learning? That's a big one. I wonder, can I take Susan and throw you in, only because I know you're involved in planning. All of your entire school district has been online since September or August, maybe for you, right, Susan?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, plan and structure online learning. I think one thing to be considerate of course, is the age and experience of your learners, right? Depending on the age of your learners, it's going to look very different. But some suggestions that we offer is start small, everything, right? That's the first, whatever age your learners are, start small. If we were to jump into a lesson like you're experiencing right now, and I see a lot of people saying, oh, there's so much, we need to go more in depth. You know, when you're talking about designing your lessons, when it comes to introducing new tools, just pick one or two and build them up. So whatever that is, if we're going to be using a Pear Deck or using a Jamboard, start small and model, right? Whatever it is that you do, if it's a collaborative Jamboard, make sure the first time you introduce a new tool as part of your synchronous online learning, do it in a way that has a really low pressure, low cognitive load. So if I'm teaching Jamboard, the first time kids do a Jamboard, I want to ask them a question that's going to be a gimme, right? Something that they know the answer to, something they're already an expert on, like something that's a favorite or something that they're going to have success with. Because as you introduce new tools to your students, you don't want them to be struggling with the tool and struggling to find the right answer in the same moment. Bring down that cognitive load, get them something easy and fun to start so they could build their familiarity, and give them time to build that familiarity. Can't just assume, okay, figure it out, right? If you're introducing a new tool, let's take a minute and just push all the buttons and see what they do. Then once you have, you know, decided, okay, today we're learning about insert desired learning outcome, right? Whatever our goal is, I have to stop and think about traditional lesson planning. What is my content? How are the students going to access it? Is it me lecturing? Are they going to watch a video ahead of time? And then I have to fast forward and think, okay, what are the workflows I need in place for them to turn that in or show what they know? So I've introduced some new content. Maybe we've engaged with it somehow, either through an online game or through something like Pear Deck, where we've interacted. But then that workflow of how do they turn in their learning? Maybe that's Classroom, maybe that is Seesaw, maybe that is live in a chat, you know, Microsoft products as well. When you're designing that lesson, you have to think through all those steps. What is the live teach going to be like? Is it live? Is it video? What is the interaction going to be? And then of course, what are your workflows for how they turn it in? Can't master all the tools in one day, right? Start building routines and building consistent routines so your kids have that opportunity to, you know, not just sit and listen, right? That's one thing we want to make sure is that they do have opportunities to engage. They always say that the person doing the talking and the person doing the work is the one doing the learning. So any opportunity we can to put the learning back on our kids, for example, all those math apps, right? You know, I can sit here and show you this is a triangle. Look, a triangle has 3 sides. Or I could say, okay, here you guys, use 3 sides, build a shape for me, right? Put it back on them, have them demo, have them share. So that would definitely be a suggestion. You know, start small, build some consistent routines, and give students those opportunities to develop their experiences with the online tools, so that when it's time for them to really do some of that meaningful learning, they can feel confident in their ability to use the tools.
Awesome. And just great feedback. And as well, just so you know, if you do want to connect with Susan or any of the other people on this panel, help@edtechteam.ca, we can get you connected with these people to help you even further. Any other comments? George, did you have something to add to that?
Yeah, sorry. I was like, Susan was on a roll, so I didn't want to say anything. Susan made a great comment about and I know this was like kind of a demo slam, so 3 minutes to throw what we just threw at you, which is usually an hour session, was like, I feel bad. I really do, because I know a lot of it was a little overwhelming, and it's all about understanding ideas that might have been there that you might not have thought before. But what Susan said that I wanted to piggyback on it is that she made the comment that if you're going to develop something like Jamboard, if you start off with, and I'm going to pick on Tracy's question here, that was a great one in the chat, is I use Jamboard not just for education, but for like those icebreakers. If I make a line right down the middle and I put a yes on one side and a no on the other, and I have all the kids drop their stickies with their name on them, I ask questions to do icebreaker activities that we would do in real life. I would say, hey, how many of you guys have ever dropped the food on the ground and did 5-second rule and then eaten it? Move your sticky to the yes or the no. I call it the George Costanza rule, but it's just a way for them to kind of do that. And as I ask questions like that, what it allows me to get later on is when we're having that in-depth actual educational talk, how many of you guys agree that this is an adverb or a verb, or this is the answer is this, move your sticky to one side or the other? It allows me to use the Jamboard not just as a way to build connection, but to also build content later on. So anything that you see today, I would always start off with, how do I build connections? Now, some of you guys may be looking at me and like, oh, he looks like Father Christmas, but the snap camera filter, I found it in the beginning, is one of the things we're missing out. All of you right now, if you're on a virtual platform, you guys are all summer birthdays. I am a July 1st birthday. And I know it's an important day for you guys, but it sucks in school never to have my birthday celebrated. So right now, all of you are summer birthdays. Well, where do I find this filter? I needed to find a way for me to celebrate a kid's birthday. And by using the filter, I was going, hey, it's Emily's birthday today. Let's all get excited for her. And this snap camera filter was just a way for me to start out to build engagement. Now, I know somebody put it in the chat and said, oh, the kids would be distracted. I totally understand that. But I'm going to tell you, sometimes having a cat on your head allows you to get the kids relax and focus and say, just remember, put your thinking cap on. Now my cat's going to need my head. He's going to help me think about the question. Or if I teach the class with Baby Yoda, these are all filters just for laughter. But if you're not laughing right now in this pandemic that we're going through, then all we're doing is stressing out and crying. So I just want you to know, in this new schema of how we're going to figure this out, always start with kid in mind, student in mind, and then think about how I can get them connected first. So those are my points.
I love it. Anyone else from the panel have anything to add to that? I think those are just really, really great pieces of feedback for sure. And it is your Friday afternoon, and I know there's still so many things in here, and we didn't get to all of the questions, but email us. You already know the email address, help@edtechteam.ca, but really that's what we're here for. We would love to help. And I do believe the gentleman that made all of today possible has joined us here on the panel. Bonjour, Sébastien.
Hello. First, I really want to thank the EdTech team. We've been, extremely helpful to help us, with some of the assemblies, the local unions assemblies, but certainly putting together this virtual convention that we would never have had the capacity on our own to make happen. The pre-convention activities yesterday were successful. Thanks to them for that. And today, I think, was quite successful. The positive comments were received since the first presentation from Ailey until now. I think, I believe it was extremely useful and uplifting for our members, for you guys in this time of, uncertainty and very difficult time that we're faced with every day with this pandemic. Now, I hope this was worth your while. I hope that it will continue on, because this was kind of an introduction, the EdTech presentation, for them also to show all of the other resources and training sessions that are available that we know teachers need right now, because they're required to teach online, either because their kids, some of the kids are out for testing, or some classes are closing, or hopefully not, but maybe if we're going to go back in full confinement, either way, this is going to be extremely useful. But once again, I want to thank everyone who attended, and hope that you really, it benefited to you today. And again, thank you for the amazing work done by the EdTech team supporting our convention this year. We'll for sure keep working with you guys in the years to come. I know so. Again, thanks everyone, and have a great weekend, and try to get some rest before going back to work next Monday. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Sébastien, and thank you so much the team here, and all of you teachers as well, for joining us. Have a fabulous, fabulous weekend. Take care. And that's it, and I think Emily's going to drop us all. Have a great weekend, everyone.